and speech are very important. Its importance we can reckon. Suppose a very nicely clad gentleman, he enters. He is very good to look at, very well dressed. But if he cannot speak properly, from his speech you can find out that his culture or his educational background is not adequate. What impression does it make? Very shabby impression, because the look is very important. Your grooming is very important. But beyond that, immediately beyond that, it is your speech. With the speech only you can sustain the first impression which you are expected to create on all, whether you are in the front office or wherever. Even when you are in an executive position, you have to lead your team. There also, all these things, voice and communication becomes very important. Now we will cover three aspects. One, articulation. What is articulation? Clarity, absolutely. Every word that you speak must be clearly understood by the listener, whether it is one listener or many. That is articulation. And how do we achieve articulation? How the voice, can I ask how the voice is formed? Do you know how the voice is formed? How the words are created? Yeah? We speak all the time. How the voice is formed? No? No? It's not very difficult. See, voice, it's a physical, it's a creation. Now we breathe, we hold the breath in our lungs. If I want to speak to you, the brain sends a signal and some breath is released. It's that breath strikes the vocal cord. Vocal cord is just like a small, you have a flute, you have various clarinet, other instruments. So when there is some air passes through, it vibrates. It creates a sound. That sound travels in the cavities. We have cavities in the mouth, we have cavities in the nose. Some resonance is added, some volume is added, but until then it is only sound, not the words. Now how the words are created? Try to imagine. Tongue. Tongue is one. And the lips, yes. Tongue, lips. Then jaw. Some people don't open the mouth. Can they be clear? No, suppose if I speak like this, can I be clear? So you have to open the mouth. Jaw, tongue, teeth. Because tongue goes, when the child, he loses the front teeth, certain words, certain syllables he or she cannot speak, right? So, what are these? Jaw, tongue, teeth, lips, and then lastly the palate. Palate we cannot observe, but after these exercises you will be able to observe that palate also plays a great role in the speech. Now articulation we achieve by proper breathing. If there is no breath, there is no speech. You know, some people, they start speaking a sentence bright and strong, but towards the end of the sentence, some words become feeble. Have you noticed sometimes? Yeah? That first part of the sentence is good, clear, but later on, some words become feeble, not so good. So they become feeble because there is no breath. And then you breathe. Now tell me, when we are speaking, suppose I am speaking to you, when should I breathe?
At the pauses.
Yes. We must breathe only at the pauses. And when the pause comes, not anywhere. Pause at the full stop. Just as a written language, you have full stop, you have comma. So all the punctuation marks we should observe as the pauses. At that time we should breathe. Yeah. So now if we have sufficient breath and we move our speech organs effectively, we can be very articulate for any language. Now languages are different. For example, Chinese people, they don't have to open their mouth. You know, their languages like that. Whereas British people, they open the mouth a little too much. Sometimes they become breathy. Their languages like that. You cannot speak good English unless you unless you use the jaw properly. Yeah. So in effect, we must breathe appropriately. We should take care of our vocal cord, which of course voice care later on Mr. Amit will tell you. And we should exercise our speech organ so that we can use them effectively in order that we are very articulate. Yeah. So we have exercises. We have exercises for the lips, tongue, teeth, etc. Now this is one part. The other part is voice modulation. Now what is voice modulation?
The variation of the tone.
Yes, one tone, very good. Tone.
Volume.
Volume is not modulation. Volume these days you get these.
No, as in emphasizing on.
Emphasizing, yes. Then that is. No, one is tone. Other is emphasis on the keyword. Emphasis on the keyword. That means in a sentence you must emphasize the keyword. Keyword which projects your idea. What you have in mind, it can be projected only if you emphasize the keyword. If you emphasize a wrong word, wrong meaning will be conveyed. Which is a problem, which is also a problem sometimes in the management. I had asked you to do this, but he says this is what I understood, therefore I have done it. We'll come to that later. Easily memorable, five ingredients. Pace means number of words per minute. You should, modulation is your talent to bring in variance in pace, pause, pitch, emphasis on the keyword and the tone. What is modulation? It is your talent, your ability to bring in variance in pace, pause, pitch, emphasis on the keyword and the tone. Each one is important. Now pace, if you are very fast, you will not be understood. And if you are very fast, you will be repetitive. Many times we have some friends very fast, not so good. If you are very slow, very dull, very boring, people will not like to listen. So you have to bring in variance in pace. Then pause. What's the importance of pause? When I pause, I look at you. Apart from breathing, I look at you. I look at the audience. 100 people or 500 people. The eye travels very fast. You can see. You can get the reaction. You can get the response. So that is one of the importance of pause. Other is that you breathe in. The third is that you construct the next sentence appropriately in your mind, so that you can project that sentence effectively. That's also pause. So pause also should vary. If you have same kinds of pauses, it's not interesting. Now one leader we had in our country who was known for his pauses. Who was he? Tell me who you are. But let me tell you, sometimes his pauses were a little too long. But mostly he used to change. And immediately after the pause, he will come out with 2-3 sentences which will be meaning the same thing, using different vocabulary, which will be very effective. He was a good orator. But yes, sometimes his pauses were a little too long. So here we must change the pause. Change the pause, duration of the pause. Pitch. What is pitch?
Shriek and
What is pitch?
changing the scale.
Scale?
I mean,
You are close to it. Yes.
So the frequency.
Absolute. That is too technical. Frequency. But it is the note.
yeah, the same.
Like do, re, mi or sa, re, ga. Sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa, high pitch. Sa, low pitch. Yeah. Now pitch is also crucial. Why? Suppose we go to a condolence meeting and you are asked to say a few words. What should be the pitch?
Very low.
Very low. Then we go to Derby race to the Mahalakshmi and there is a commentator. We have put a lot of money. What should be his pitch?
High.
Very high. Now these are the two extremes. But during the day, your pitch should vary as per the situation, as per to whom you are speaking and as per the content. Yeah? So, therefore, we must know how to control the pitch. Emphasis on the keyword. Now you know when the emphasis changes from one word to another, the meaning changes. You know that? Can you give an example? Anyone able to give an example?
Like if I say, what are you doing here? And what are you doing here?
Huh.
Maybe-
It gives a little
Yeah.
different meaning. For example, if I was to say, when we are all sitting here, somebody comes and I tell him, when I went there, he started crying. So that shows any one of you, when he didn't cry, only when something is wrong with my face or something, that he started crying. So when I went there, he started crying. So that gives an impression there was not only one person, there were many people, only he started crying. Then I say, when I went there, he started crying. Shows that he was sitting all right, but when they looked at me, he started crying. Then, when I went there, he started crying. He didn't laugh, he didn't jump, he didn't dance, he started crying. You have understood? These are the things which we don't talk, but the impression is registered. So therefore, all these are very important. And finally, the most crucial is tone. What is tone?
Like you could be rude.
Yes, emotion. Rude, pleasant, cordial.
Angry.
Yes, anger. So tone is also very critical. Often, see educated people with good cultural background, they don't use bad language, bad words. But controlling tone is difficult. And sometimes the problems arise not because of the language, not because of the words, but because of the tone. It happens among friends, it happens in the families. Yeah? So tone is also very crucial. So modulation, therefore, as it stands, we understand modulation is your ability to bring in variance in pace, pause, pitch, emphasis on the keyword and the tone. And do you agree that all are very important?
Yes.
Yeah. So one, articulation is very important because the objective is that people should understand, the listeners should understand what I am saying. Articulation is important, and articulation, I told you what are the requirements: good breath, looking after vocal cords, developing the resonators. You know, resonators, unless otherwise the voice is flat. Amitabh Bachchan's voice was flat when it was rejected by All India Radio, Calcutta. Then he worked on it. Now it's very resonant. His voice is one of the most sought after voice, right? So voice and speech, they are dynamic. They are not static. It's wrong to say that, look, voice is God-given, I cannot do anything. You can totally change it. You can totally change it. And some people do not know that it can be changed, and therefore they are living with the voice as such. So nobody need to. Voice can almost be designed. Yeah? Because what is voice? Using the speech organs, pushing the breath, and how effectively you use just like Bansuri, you know, there are some holes and he just moves his fingers and the voices change, the sounds change. So likewise, we will get to know.